Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Know What to Watch, the podcast where two guys talk about what they've been watching and talk about the random movies thanks to the almighty algorithm. I am already struggling with this intro, and with me today is the pinball wizard to my Baba O'Reilly, Kyle Mulford, and I'm Noah Saturn. How you doing, Kyle?
I've got such a supple wrist.
You really do. You're well known for your wrists.
It's been a while since we recorded, so we'll give you that you struggled through the intro.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Thank
probably
you.
struggle through the whole thing.
I think we'll struggle together.
I'm doing all right. It's been so long since we've recorded that I'm gonna have to just hit the highlights because otherwise this could be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily want that. So this will be a mini episode, sometimes maxi episodes called What You Watching. And I guess I'll go first this time since I don't have nearly as many movies. So I guess, are you going to ask me the question?
Hey, Noah, what you watching?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I watched three things that really kind of stood out to me. So first one I watched was Bullet Train.
That's a fun movie.
I watched this one on Netflix with my wife. I think my favorite character is probably Brian Tyree Henry with this whole thing about Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes. I love that character.
Yeah, he was so great. And just the whole cast I thought did really well for such a silly movie. It definitely made you feel like you didn't have to take it seriously either, just because there's so much crap that happens on this train.
It's like a screwball comedy, like assassin movie.
I think that's a good word for it, because it's just so over the top and it's so great.
I had a good time with that one. I would definitely rewatch that one.
Oh, I had a great time with that one. So yeah, that was number one, Bullet Train. Number two, Number two, I went to the theater and then I saw the cinematic classic known as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
How was it?
It was good. I mean, it was fun because it was Ant-Man, but then, they went to the quantum realm, and I was really hoping there's going to be at least one Micronauts reference, because, they should have called it the Microverse, because that's kind of what it is. But anyway, yep, so they go to this realm, in the quantum realm, and they have to work together to fight an evil dictator who happens to be Kang the Conqueror. And then, so it's a mixture of that Ant-Man comedy, but on a bigger scale. So what if Ant-Man is in a war movie?
Nice.
Yeah,
hilarity
great stuff.
ensues because it's Paul Rudd, right?
Mm-hmm. Hilarity ensues. And we even get to see MODOK.
What? That is odd. Do they do him justice? Am I going to like MODOK?
I mean, I thought he was kind of funny.
Sweet. Does he look anything like the comics? What did they do with the look?
I mean, he still has a giant head and tiny arms.
Okay, I'll take that.
So yeah, I was surprised to see MODOK, because that's one of the characters I think would never really make the jump, because it's just so weird.
Right, for sure.
All right, then lastly...
Oh, you had one more, okay.
Yeah, I had one more, and this one I also saw in theaters. It was, I think, so far it's going to be the best movie of the year involving animals and drugs. I saw Cocaine Bear.
I want to see this one so bad. Was it exactly what I'm hoping for?
It was a very, very dark comedy with some, and it also, I love it because it treats the bear, the titular Cocaine Bear, like a slasher movie villain. It's like whenever you think he's dead, or you think it's dead, you just gotta give it like a whiff of cocaine, and its eyes open again dramatically, and it starts going after you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good, and there's some great performances throughout. Carrie Russell I thought was a real highlight of the film, because she has to play a mom who's looking for her lost daughter who was taken by the Cocaine Bear. And then
I was really surprised when Elizabeth Banks came out in the Oscars and said that she directed the movie. I was like, she did?
She did, and I thought she did a great job. It was very funny. Lots of great moments of physical comedy and a very mixture of a very dark sense of humor.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely highly recommend Cocaine Bear. It's the best movies about animals doing drugs I've ever seen.
That's not a large list, but I'm sure there's some out there.
Well, there's got to be more.
There better be more, right?
Yep. Can't wait for the sequel, Meth Gator.
The Methodial.
There you go. All right. So, Kyle, what you been watching?
So many things. I'm just going to go through the stuff that I would recommend, actually. So I watched a 1985 movie on Netflix called Fletch. I don't know why, but I don't think I've seen this all the way through before in my life. And I'm a big 80s Chevy Chase fan. I know that he's an impossible man to work with and not a great real life person, but I love his 80s comedies. And this is no exception. He's a newspaper guy who's trying to solve some investigating some crimes going on the beach, and gets mixed up in some drug stuff and all this, and hilarity ensues, and Chevy Chase witticisms.
So you're saying he's like a Detroit cop that has to go to Beverly Hills?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so what you're saying is that he has to track down the missing Miami Dolphin?
Again. Yes. So
Perfect.
no, it's funny. If you're a fan of his, then yeah, take a look at that one. Let's skip ahead to watch some of the Oscar movies, and one that stood out to me was I really enjoyed The Fablemans, or as it should be called, The Spielbergs.
Do you mean
Um,
the Spielbergs?
well, someone was telling me that in an interview he basically said he didn't call it the Spielbergs because he wanted people to watch it and see a kid being influenced by movies and not go, "Oh, that's Spielberg on screen. I could never be him," or whatever, and be like, "No, just you can relate to him more if I'm not saying it's me." but then I guess he also said, like, someone asked him how much of it was true, and he goes, basically all of it.
Nice.
So it's just a really good movie about a kid who's growing up trying to deal with family issues, and learns the art of movie making in the process.
So what you're saying is that Steven Spielberg made a good movie?
Yes, I think that's what I'm saying.
I, for one, am shocked.
I I know, I
Given that
couldn't
guy's
believe it.
track record.
Oh, he made a good movie on a subject that he knew completely intimately.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm terribly shocked.
I am as well.
And then we did watch also the 2022 film Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I watched that with my family, and to me it almost went a little too long. I think it was great as little shorts on YouTube, and that's what it started as. But it was adorable as all get out, so I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see Marcel come back and then like in a feature film as well. I was like, wow, I thought that was just a weird YouTube thing from 10 years ago.
And it was. But yeah, it's he lives in this house, and his whole family disappears when the couple that lives there has an argument and splits up, and then the rest of his family gets shoved into one of the suitcases, so he's living alone with his grandma in the house. And then some documentary maker rents the house and starts making a documentary about him, and then they start searching for his family. So it's
Nice.
really cute, and I would recommend it. It's a good one to watch with your family. And then I watched I got a Blu-ray of Payback from 1999 with Mel Gibson. I'm just recommending this because I love this movie. It's
So not to be confused with Paycheck
no, not
with
the
Ben
Ben Affleck
Affleck.
paycheck movie. No, no, this is Mel Gibson plays. I think they call him Porter in this, but it's the character Parker from some novels. Jason
Yep.
Statham has played him. I think Lee Marvin played him in a movie.
D. Marvin originally played him. Yep. So
And
this was the series of Parker novels by Richard Stark, which is definitely one of my favorite book series. They're a lot of fun, really great heist books, very well put together. I highly recommend reading the Parker books, as well as there's a couple of great graphic novels that adapt some of the stories as well.
okay, I'm gonna have to check him out because I really like this adaptation of it. And if the character is like this in the books, I'd probably really enjoy it. Mel Gibson plays Porter, and he does a heist with a partner and his girlfriend or something like that, and the partner double crosses him and shoots him and leaves him for dead, and then he goes after him, and then because the partner used that money to get back into the mob or whatever, the mafia family, and Porter's like, well, I want my share of the money. So it was like I can't remember what it was. It was like $7,000 or something like that, like, or $70,000. And they keep going, you just want this, you want like 200,000. What are you trying to get out of us? No, I just want my $70,000. So it's just a fun movie, and a little revenge movie, and a good time. So I would highly recommend that one. That was actually one I bought on Blu-ray.
Nice.
And then on Amazon Prime, I watched the 1972 film Fist of Fury, starring Bruce Lee.
Nice.
And this is where he's a part of a Chinese martial arts class or dojo or whatever you want to call it. And there's a Japanese instructor that comes in and is like, yeah, you're nothing, and starts like bad mouthing him, all this stuff, and wants to shut down their school and all this. And then Bruce Lee eventually finds out that they killed his master with some poison. So he goes and takes revenge, another revenge flick.
And he adopts 4 orphans, trains them to be his sons, and names them after Renaissance painters.
Yes.
I
and
knew it.
the
He's also
rest
a
is
rat.
history.
Yes. It was a
No,
Ratatouille situation.
this was fun just to watch Bruce Lee because he's awesome.
Hmm.
And he takes everyone on all by himself, and man, that guy can move.
Yep.
I had never seen this one all the way through either, and this was a good watch. I recommend it. Then I rewatched RRR. That's all I'm going to say about that is just because I wanted to mention that I rewatched it.
Yes.
I introduced my wife to it. The Academy Award winning film RRR.
Thank you. It was well deserved.
Yes. And then on Disney Plus, I watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This wasn't as good as the first Black Panther. I thought they did well with the whole Chadwick Boseman thing and his death and incorporating that into the movie. It was all done pretty tastefully. I thought the story was okay. It just it went on a little too long. I did, however, really enjoy the introduction of Riri Williams. I knew she was getting her own show, but I did not know she was in this movie when I went into this. So I was like, there's some point, and so I spoiled that for anyone else who doesn't know, but they go to this college and they start talking. They're looking for someone who built something technologically advanced, and it's a girl at a college. I go, is this going to be Riri Williams? And then they were like, are you Riri Williams? I was like, yes, Ironheart. So, and I liked the character. So that's cool that she's now introduced, and we'll get her show eventually. So,
yeah, and of course, don't forget we also had Namor. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he did a really good job, and he had an interesting backstory in this. The only thing I don't like is they keep doing these things where it's, well, he can't have his own movie because of the rights issues. So, like, it'll be kind of like what I've heard is like Captain America 4 is going to be basically another Hulk movie, but they can't call it a Hulk movie because they still don't have the rights to make an actual Hulk movie.
Yeah, it's still so weird.
So Namor is kind of the same way. He can be a supporting character in a movie, but he can't have his own film. So
I just want him to start flirting with Sue Storm.
Right. I want. Oh, yeah. I kind of. I'll be interested in how they introduce the Fantastic Four in the future here. So we'll see. But speaking of the Fantastic Four, I also watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This one was a lot of fun. It was very Sam Raimi. The music was
in all the best ways.
The music was very Danny Elfman. So if you're a fan of Sam Raimi superhero movies like Spider-Man
and Darkman,
then this is a lot of fun. I don't think there was a lot of substance to this, but it was just kind of fun to see them play around with different worlds. I kind of wish they would have went more into different worlds because they finally got to one. They went through all of these where it's like, oh, this crazy one, but it was just flashes as they were flying through. And then they land on another Earth that's, got a few different superheroes, but is basically just like opposite land where it's like, oh, you go on red? It's like, really? But we did get to see the Illuminati, which was kind of cool.
And then we got to see them murdered.
Just brutally murdered. I was like, dang.
That was really funny.
Introduce these guys and just slaughter them. But yeah, that was one that was interesting too, because going into it, I heard a lot of complaints about Wanda and how they don't understand how she turned so instantly bad guy in this, and it negates everything from the show. And I'm going, no, it didn't, because at the end of the show, she was super pissed off that she had to give up her kids, and she was trying to find a way to do it. And so
she was messing with the Darkhold.
And then she got a hold of the Darkhold, and she went a little crazy. Like, so I don't think it negated the show at all. And I like that, how I kind of like how it ended up at the end. So it was a fun movie to see different multiverse stuff.
Yep. Plus, Doctor Strange got to possess his own corpse.
Yes, that was cool.
I love that. That ending and that final reveal and that final fight was great. Yeah, definitely a good heel turn from Elizabeth Olsen. I thought she really sold it.
Yes, yeah, she was really good in that. We'll go to another night. Well, Fletch was 1985, and then I'm only saying that because the next few, 1985, I watched on Shudder Reanimator with Jeffrey Combs. H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator.
It's not an H.P. Lovecraft film without Jeffrey Combs.
Right. Unless you have Color Out of Space with Nicolas
Nick
Cage.
Cage. But still, Jeffrey Combs could have been in that movie very easily.
That would have been great. I want to see Jeffrey Combs and Nicolas Cage in a movie together now.
I really do too.
See which one of them can out-chew the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be nothing left of that background.
And then throw in John Malkovich just so he can really decimate the scenery.
Yes. This is basically Jeffrey Combs is like this doctor. He goes to this med school and he's researching. It's called Reanimator, basically reanimating dead people, like trying to bring them back. And there's like they said there's like a 7 to 20 minute window that you can bring them back from the dead. So, and then fun gore ensues.
Wasn't there, am I thinking of a different movie, but wasn't there a part where like a head performs a sex act on a woman?
Yes, this is the one where a decapitated head goes down on Barbara Crampton.
Yes.
Which that's another selling point is Barbara Crampton is in this movie.
She's always fun when she shows up.
Yes. So this is a fun, campy, just gory, crazy 1980s horror movie.
Wasn't there one episode of DS9 where like Jeffrey Combs was in it playing two different characters?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was in DS9.
Because I know he was at least in the Next Generation at least once. So.
And then, well, moving on from that, on DVD, I watched the 1985 film The Goonies. This was all coincidental that all these 1985 movies got watched.
Sure it was.
So apparently 1985 was a good year. We watched The Goonies with the kids because it's a classic. And you kind of have to watch that at some point with your kids by law, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't grow up in the 80s, so I have no nostalgia for it.
Okay. Yeah, I have to admit, I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but it's still a fun movie. So if you show it to your kids young, they'll appreciate it.
It does have Academy Award winner Ke Kwan.
Yes, we can say that now, and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows The Goonies, so I don't have to say much about that one, other than it's just a great family movie. Then going on to Shudder again from 1985, I watched Demons, and I gotta remember this was
this is Argento, right?
No, this pause will get cut out.
No,
it was Mario Bava's son Lamberto Bava.
Right.
Dario Argento was one of the writers on it, and he did have a big heavy hand in this.
Oh, and then Goblin did the soundtrack, right?
That I don't know, but that could very well be.
I swear they did.
But this is basically some people there's a guy handing out tickets to a secret screening of something in a theater, and it's like this demon zombie type movie, and while they're in there, someone gets possessed with a demon by one of the props, and then everything that's happening on screen is also happening in the theater, and the plot doesn't really matter. It's about the effects and a bunch of people trapped in a theater with a bunch of demons and trying to get out.
And the only person that can save them is Ash Williams.
Yes, and unfortunately, he didn't make it there.
So
that's another fun 80s horror movie with some fun effects in it, and so another recommendation.
Yeah, Ash was too busy at S-Mart.
Yes. If you like that Italian horror stuff from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'll finally just end with I bought a Blu-ray copy of the 1985 film Real Genius, and we watched that with our kids, and I hadn't seen this in quite some time, but this was one of those that was a favorite of mine growing up, and this movie is still hilarious, and I love Val Kilmer comedies from the 80s, like Top Secret, Real Genius. He was so good in those movies. Top Yes, Iceman was such a comedy genius.
Mm-hmm.
This is about a 15-year-old kid who gets chosen to go to this elite school because he's like this genius kid working with lasers and all this stuff, and the main professor that they deal with has a side gig going on, like some side money going on with the contractor that wants him to build a laser that they can shoot from space and pinpoint kill a person from space. Well, all the kids think, including Val Kilmer, think that they're just working on a laser for this guy and trying to figure this out, and then at the end they realize, oh, we just created a weapon, and so they have to try and sabotage it. And the whole movie is it's a flat out comedy, and there's so many parts that just make me laugh out loud in this movie. So if you're a fan of comedies, just in general, I would highly recommend Real Genius.
And then you can follow it up with the sequel, Real Genius 2, Batman Forever.
Yes, that's where his protege, Jim Carrey, the Riddler.
I knew it. It's where he all goes wrong.
Yes. So those are some of the highlights of what I've been watching since, I watched many, many movies, and those are some of the highlights that I highly recommend. So what do you got on your plate to watch next?
Theaters, I'm looking forward to John Wick Chapter 4.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
And I'm curious about the Super Mario Brothers movie
It looks cute.
because the animation looks gorgeous.
I've been hearing it is a standard, pretty safe Illumination movie. But
Yeah, and then Jack Black as Bowser, that's inspired casting.
right. That looks kind of fun. So,
and then of course, whatever the next Marvel movie is, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I love the first two Guardians movies, so I'll be curious to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, that'll be. I hope that he can round off that trilogy well, because some of the latest Marvel movies have been good, but just nothing that I'm real excited about. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 were ones that I really loved, and other than maybe the third Spider-Man movie, which I really loved, and I loved all three of those, like Multiverse of Madness, Eternals. What was the other one I mentioned here? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I feel like they're all just kind of good movies that you can pop on and they're decent watches. I'm glad that Kevin Feige has said that he is going to slow down on the Marvel stuff, because I think it's just they're just pumping out too much and not focusing on making them great anymore.
Oh, but then what am I supposed to do with my time? Watch something else?
Right? I will be watching. I'm still going through. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is I'll just mention it quickly because I watched Zatoichi on the Road. So
okay, I was worried you didn't watch one
from 1963. So I did get a Zatoichi movie in. So I'm still working my way through the 25 movies.
Okay, you probably could have finished the series and how long it's taken between recordings.
I probably could have, but I can't just sit and watch one series for 3 weeks long.
Oh, come on.
I got to break it up. Especially since I really am digging these movies, but they're all solid, 3 to 3.5 stars out of 5, because they're all they're very similar.
And that's okay sometimes.
That is okay when you space them out. But if I watched them all back to back, I'd be like, they would just all run together.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to continue enjoying them. So I'm kind of spacing them out. But that will be another thing that I watch coming up is at least another Zatoichi before we talk again.
Nice. All right. You can find us on social media. You can find me on Twitter at Noah_Saturn. And
I am at AwesomeKM. And we're on Instagram at We Don't Know What to Watch. And you can email us, we don't know what to watch @gmail.com. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you're watching. And until next time, keep watching.
Keep watching movies and Val Kilmer.